This is geometry, semester 1. It's unit number 6, rigid motions, and it's lesson number 2, reflections practice. It's on creatormath.com under the geometry tab. You might, when you Google Creator Math, you might have to type in creatormath.weebly.com. The instructions are: copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com. How do you know how to find the notes? Let's show that. So let's see here. Can I go back with this? There we go. Let's go this way. Okay. Here's the website, creatormath.weebly.com. Google that. Here's what the homepage looks like. If you need to know anything about the composition book, then scroll down on this homepage. All the directions are there. Find the words composition book, the picture composition book, follow all the videos, follow all the instructions, follow the due dates. If you do, you should have minimum a 90 to a 100% on your composition book, as long as you are putting the notes are. Let's go see where those are. We're going to go to the geometry tab. This is where all the notes, videos, problem sets, and vocabulary are. Notice this vocabulary geometry practice study PDF. This is a list of every single vocabulary word we use in geometry for the entire school year. And if you Google how to search a PDF, you can search that file. You should be getting 100% on your vocabulary practices. Now let's go to the right semester and look at the table of contents. So for this particular lesson we're working on right now, it's on semester 1. This is the table of contents. You should have already copied this entire table of contents onto pages 2 through 6 of your composition book. If you haven't already, please stop what you're doing now and do it now. Let's go down and find this unit. Here's rigid motions. It's the second lesson. So rigid motions, this whole thing is the unit. There are 6 lessons in the unit down to 1 through 6. We're in number 2 here, reflections. Here are the pages that these notes go on in your comp book. Please don't use this video to find these pages, but go to the original table of contents. Most likely by the time you watch this video, these page numbers will be different. There's notes, problem set, which we're going over now, and a video solution, which will be tagged here too when we're done. So we're going to click notes. Fair warning, you might have to open it twice to get it to load. I do. In this case, it loaded. You should be able to expand it full like this, see all the notes, and copy them into your composition book. All right, it's going to talk about the pre-image. The pre-image is the shape, location, orientation before reflecting. So pre-image is an important vocab understanding. Pre-image, here's the points. It's giving us a shape. Then we're taking that pre-image and we're doing something with it. In this case, we're reflecting it about the y-axis. Put these in your notes. Once we reflect it, we end up with, if this is ABC, this ends up being A prime, B prime, C prime. That little tick mark is called prime. Here's a reflection about the x-axis. Here's a reflection about y equal to x, the line. So vocabulary, pre-image, that's the one we start with. Image, the one that's done after we apply a rigid motion to it. Prime is like the little tick mark up to on a letter. So if you have A and A tick mark, it's pronounced A and A prime. Here are a couple problems you're going to put in your comp book, and with that we're going to go and see what problem sets they give us and see if we can do it. What is the pre-image in relation to reflections? The image before it is reflected. All right, they're starting us out easy. And that was right in the notes. If you put the notes in your comp book, you would get that right away. What is the image in relation to reflections? So there's a pre-image, right? Pre-image and image. Image must be the one after the reflection, or reflected, or rigid motion, after the action's taken on it. How is the following notation spoken? So see the little tick mark right there? This is A, and this is A prime. A prime. P-R-I-M-E. Right? So about what line is the pre-image being reflected? So here's the pre-image, and it's hard to see there. Okay, a little bit clearer on your screen than even on my piece of paper. I'm not sure why that is. Here's the reflected image. So pre-image and image. How is this being done? Well, notice it's 2 away from the y-axis here, and it's 2 away here. So imagine taking this like a book and just flipping it over, just like we did in the prior lesson. we folded this page, right? And if we fold it right on that line, this triangle is now exactly on the other triangle, and that would be a reflection across the y-axis. So about what line is the pre-image reflected? And this is interesting. They gave us a line of x equals 0. So what does that mean? If the y-axis here cuts down, what's its value on the x? Well, right here it cuts across the x, right? X equals 0 right here, what's cutting across. So that's why it says x equals 0 here. Okay. And interestingly enough, I'm kind of curious if we go to our old favorite site called Desmos.com. Just curious what it does if we tell it x equals 0. Look at that, you guys, right there. It is on the y-axis, cutting right through the origin. So you can go and just type in some things here and see if it'll help you figure out what x equals 0 means. They don't tell us that in the instructions, but I'm hoping you've done this long enough where you go, let's just graph that sucker on Desmos.com and see what it does. All right, about what line is the pre-image reflected? So, which one is image? Oh, so pre-image is here. How do I know? Because it's A, B, C. There's no primes, right? This is triangle A, B, C. Now over here, notice that it's A prime, B prime, and C prime. So this would then be the image. This would be the pre-image and image. Pre-image is before, it's reflected in this case, image is after. This is one away here, and even if we folded this over along that y-axis, this triangle is lining up right on the one here. Okay, so we are flipping it about this y-axis, or again, x equals 0, just like we typed in on the other. Same thing they're showing us. All right, this looks a little different. The pre-image is, let's take a second to figure it out. So, I don't know which is the pre-image here and which is the image. I don't know, but it doesn't matter to me. It looks like this is being flipped this way. Okay, it's being flipped across the x-axis here. If you look right here, and then I pull this page away, boom, that's it right there. So it's being reflected across the x-axis, but that's not the way they give us. Where is the x-axis cutting across on the y? This is cutting across at y equals 0. And once again, let's just go back here, clear this out, and say y equals 0. There we go. And it's the x-axis. Okay, so a little bit interesting. Might have to think through this one a little bit, but not too bad. So this looks like ABC here, and this looks like A prime. I see a little A prime, B prime, C prime. So this is being reflected across this line here. What is this line? This is y equals x. Why? Because y equals mx plus b, which I hope that sounds familiar to you. If there's no y-intercept, it's 0, which look, this is cutting right through the origin, so there's no y-intercept. And then we have a slope equal to 1. This is equal to y equals 1 times x, or y equals x. And if we just go here and plug this in and say y equals x. There you go. 45-degree angle line right there. That's what this is. So y equals x is the line about which this is being reflected. So make sure that you match up the title of this video with the problem set you're working on. This is Geometry, Semester 1. It's Unit number 6, Rigid Motions. It's the lesson number 2, Reflections Practice. It's on creatormath.com under the Geometry tab, and I hope this helps.